Hi everyone, thank you for coming today. So we're here for the Sport Officer Questions to Candidates, and we have Olivia here. So welcome, and give us a opening statement from yourself. You have 1 minute. Please go ahead.
So hello, my name is Olivia, and I am running for the Sports Officer role. I am on my master's year at uni here doing mathematics, and I'm looking to stay in the uni after I finish. I'm currently the treasurer for the Q Sports Society and have also been part of their team for 3 years. I am looking, that's all I've got to say really.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go on to our questions for you now. So we have some questions that we would ask, we're asking all candidates. We're going to have some role-specific questions, some manifesto-specific questions, and then some questions that some students have sent in. Cool, so we'll start off with all candidate question. You've got 2 minutes to answer. What do you believe is the single most important issue that the sport officer should prioritise for the 2024-25 academic year?
I think representation, allowing sport to be open for every single student, and regardless of their ability, of if they're disabled or not, LGBT, I want every single person to get involved. So that will involve doing stuff at the start of the year for them and continuing to do that throughout the entire university calendar year.
Great, sounds good. On to the next question then. So tell us what you think you'd bring to the role, drawing on both your previous experiences and general knowledge of what it's like to be a student in higher education.
So, like I said earlier, I am the treasurer for Q Sports, but my responsibilities beyond that have been running basically everything for Q Sports this year. So I do the social media, I run tournaments, socials, and obviously the finances and sorting stuff out with Bucks. So that has all been stuff I have done. So I feel like I can bring that to a further extent and be the sports officer for next year.
Fantastic, thanks. Okay, next question. As sport officer, you are responsible for over 50 sports. How do you plan to support them all equally to ensure that all reach their potential?
I'll make sure they all get just as much exposure as they all deserve, which is plenty of exposure. I'll make sure at the start of each year, every single sport has enough representation and they are being given, people know these sports exist. For example, last year, with the Q Sports, we didn't have a freshers fair thing. But this year I made sure of that, and I'll make sure all 50 sports have something in the Freshers' Fair. I'll make sure emails are sent, etc., etc.
Okay, great, thank you. As sport officer, you'll be attending regular meetings with key stakeholders from across the university.
Mm-hmm.
How would you approach challenging questions from those who don't see sport as a priority?
Oh, Jesus, I think.
Yeah, of course, take your time. Complicated question, sorry.
It's a very complicated one. You ask it again?
Yeah, of course, no worry. So, as sport officer, you'll be attending regular meetings with key stakeholders from across the university. How would you approach challenging questions from those who don't see sport as a priority?
I'll probably go over the mental benefits of sport. A lot of people find sport as one of their something to do in their free time. It is what they primarily do and is what they look to do outside of their education. Without sport, I reckon people, it could cause a mental defects to everyone.
Yeah, that's great, thanks. And then another role-specific question. Yeah. What do you believe is the value of Bucks over recreational sport, and how do you feel this aligns with SU strategy?
I think both Bucks and recreational sport should be treated equally. I don't think we should value one over the other. I think they should both be talked about just as much. Bucks is obviously still a very important part of the student body, as many students would want to excel, and we should give them the opportunity to excel. So letting them know that Bucks is, where they finish and can perform at the highest level, and that can inspire them to try and get to that highest level, of course. But you should not everyone wants to do Bucks, so you should also make sure that sports also offer recreational sessions as well.
Okay, thanks. All right, so we're going to go on to some manifesto-specific questions. So these ones that are going to dig into what you've written in your manifesto a little bit more. So as you've mentioned in your manifesto, the role of social media, and particularly the need to give clubs greater exposure via Instagram. How would you ensure that all clubs get the same coverage, and how would you encourage those clubs to get involved?
If I'll make sure to go over if pardon me.
That's okay.
I will make sure to go over like all Bucks tournaments and figure out who's won from each one. For example, again, I got to Q Sports. We had an individual gold champion winner, and they got no promotion from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just won 2 this weekend.
Oh, nice, well
And yeah, so I'm hoping that gets promoted at some point. But I'll make sure that everyone gets recognised for their achievements, and this involves obviously doing it on social media, as social media is a very important part nowadays in a lot of people's lives, as it is where most people find out most stuff.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you very much. So another manifesto-specific question now.
Mm-hmm.
In your manifesto, you've rightfully explained that all clubs should be treated equally by the Students' Union.
Mm-hmm.
With SU budgets being squeezed tighter, how would you prioritise clubs to ensure that funds are maximised and funding is shared equally?
I would try and at some point get most clubs sponsorships if they need them. I just got the Q Sports a sponsorship, so I know how it's run now, and I know that I could figure this out. Obviously, the budgets are tightening, that is true. But as long as every club has access to proper facility, proper equipment, that's the main thing. And as long as that can all be organised respectively.
Okay, great, thank you. So now we're going to move on to some questions that some students have submitted.
Okie dokie.
So a student has said, how will you use your sport exec to effectively contribute to the sport offer?
The sport offer? What?
So essentially, you'll like oversee a group of students that are
Mm-hmm.
sat on a sport exec panel. They'll all have different roles amongst them. And how do you utilise their expertise as students to like contribute to Bath's sport offer? So recreational, bucks, clubs, things like that.
I'll make sure everyone gets the right amount of job, and to not overwhelm anyone, I think, is a good way to run a panel of people, is to delegate things uniquely so they're not all stressing about doing different things. Make sure if everyone has one job and they stick to that, then at the end it should all come together pretty well.
Okay, thank you. Another student question. How will you ensure that students are at the heart of decisions towards student sport offer? I
think creating feedback loops is vital for running sports societies. So I would maybe try and set up make sure people know that they can come back to me. They can let me know how the club's running, and then obviously I can get back to the committees and I can tell them how maybe they could do it differently if need be, that kind of thing. If there needs to be more awareness for LGBT people in their clubs, I can also let them know that, etc. It's
Great, thank you. A student has asked, how do you think the area can improve communication from club members up to the sport officer role and vice versa? So the area being SU Sport.
Okay, confusing. You say that again then?
Yeah, of course,
please.
No worries.
Thank you.
So how do you think SU Sport can improve communication from club members up to the sport officer role and vice versa?
I think the SU Sport officer can just... Can you say that one more time?
Yeah,
sorry,
of course,
it's just
no
gone over
problem.
my head again and again.
No, that's all right. Take your time.
Thank you.
So yeah, a student has asked,
Yes.
how do you think that SU Sport can improve communication from club members, so sport members, up to the sport officer and vice versa? So how can the sport officer improve communication down to club members?
Okay, I get it now. Thank you.
No worries.
So the club members obviously usually should go through the committee, and then the committee can talk to the sports officer, and that's how it should work. Obviously they can just contact the sports officer directly, but if you make it easier and more well known that at the end of each week maybe a sports society can have questions that are sent to them, which they can then pass on to the sports officer, which then can be answered within 24 hours. I reckon I could do stuff like that. Just make sure that there's enough knowledge that they know they can ask anything they like whenever they like.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another student question here. What development or training opportunities do you think committee members would benefit from and why? So maybe try and dig in a bit from your experience as a committee member from Q Sports.
So you can get coaching for most sports nowadays in any sports society. Like again, I've sorted out coaching for the Q Sports Society, so I'm pretty sure I can do that for other societies as well, because it's not horribly difficult. So you can get every sports adequate coaching, different levels of coaching as well. Maybe some coaches for beginners, coaches for people that are looking to go pro, maybe that kind of thing. What else was in that question?
So like training or opportunities. So I guess just if there's anything else that maybe you can think of.
Maybe like planning trips out, events with proper like people in their field of sport. That kind of thing, just like experiences that will kind of inspire them, and kind of see how differently they could approach taking technique into their sport properly.
Yeah, of course. What about from like the perspective of career aspects and how like being a committee member can transcend into the career place? How do you feel that like as a students' union and as you as the future sport officer potentially can do to aid that career development for committee members?
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, sorry. It was quite long-winded then from me. So, similar to the question that I asked previously. So, obviously, being a committee member provides you with vital skills that can transcend into the workplace. Definitely. So, how do you feel as sport officer, potentially, for next year, you'd be able to aid those skills for the committee members to go up into a job outside of uni? Take your time, don't worry.
Just getting confused a little bit.
That's okay. I'm happy to reword it again if you need me to.
Can you reword it one more time?
Yeah, of course,
I'm so
no worries.
Sorry.
So you mentioned what development and training opportunities you can help provide committee members with. And part of being a committee member is dealing with issues and budgets and managing individual members that you would see maybe in a workplace situation. So how do you feel as the sport officer to be able to aid those further to like help the committee members maybe realise that that's what those kind of skills that they're gaining?
I can create definite good communication with the committee officers. I can plan engaging workshops that they can attend and hopefully enjoy and take something from, that kind of thing. Just making like, communication is one of the key parts of any job, and this job specifically, communication is everything. Just making sure I keep clear, open links with the committee officers, and making sure they know they're represented, and that their skills will be transcended into future careers.
Yeah, great, thank you. And then we just have one more question for you. Yes. So if you were the Vice-Chancellor for the day and you had unlimited money, resource and opportunity, what would you do to improve the lives of students at Bath?
If I had limited money?
Unlimited anything. You just think of anything.
I would make sure every facility was state-of-the-art. I get every sports club as much funding, promoting. Yeah. Yeah, I'll give them as much promotion as possible to just get so there's as much growth as we can ever imagine. I'd make sure the SU pool tables are much better because they're kind of bad. I'm not going to lie. I just give everyone state-of-the-art facilities and state-of-the-art equipment, and just to make all the clubs just better. Yeah. No, sounds good.
And then one bit less serious question now for you that we've asked all of the candidates. If you were a biscuit, what biscuit would you be?
That's the hardest question. Jesus. Biscuit would I be?
We've had an Oreo. Digestive biscuit.
Is it Jaffa Cake a biscuit? Or am I going into some
call
severe politics there?
Yeah, I would say.
I'd be a Jaffa Cake.
No, nice.
Yeah.
Jaffa Cake is not a cake, it's a biscuit. Oh, I disagree. I think it's a biscuit. There we go. Okay, perfect. So thanks for that, Olivia. You have 1 minute of a closing statement. Just summarise maybe what you've answered there in the questions on your manifesto point.
Yeah, so hopefully I've done it right there. Just saying, vote for me, because I am for everyone, and I'll make sure every single person here is represented next year.
Perfect.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
so
much.
much. And thank you everyone for coming.